Welcome to another episode of Ruff Talk VR, a weekly podcast with in-depth game reviews, exclusive developer interviews, and the latest MetaQuest and virtual reality news. We join our hosts, the father-son team of D. Scruffles and Stratus today, as they spend another episode breaking down and discussing the world of virtual reality.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're joined with a fun guest.
I am excited for this one.
Yeah.
I've waited a year, I think, for this.
Yeah, we last met this gentleman at MetaConnect. We stole him outside a coffee shop.
Just trying to get a cup of coffee, man.
Poor guy was just, like you said, grabbing a cup of coffee. We had a podcast set up. He said, oh my goodness, podcast over here.
Door. It was brilliant.
Next thing you know, 20 minutes later, he was off on his way. So I know this is going to be a fun one. Today we're joined with Jon Hibbins, correct me if I'm wrong, the CEO and founder of Psytec Games.
CEO, founder, and creative director. So yeah, I've got probably 1,000 more hats than that if you include coding and review stuff and quality control and marketing. I don't know, everything. We're very a lot of people don't know. Psytec's quite a small company, so there's actually only 5 full-time people, and that includes like community management, things like that. So we're a tiny little company, but we do use a lot of contractors, and we've been privileged to work with a lot of amazing people against America. Yeah, I pretty much have lots of hats.
It's very hard, I think, to work in VR and just have one role and like, this is all I do.
I've yet to see that at any level either, from entry to CEO. It's like you're doing everything to some degree.
Definitely feels like CEOs in VR are hands-on, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I can't do everything. I mean, I couldn't do music, and I definitely couldn't be the actors, and I couldn't be... There are a lot of things that, to make a quality game, you really do need to have the right people. So, but I do, you'd be surprised how much is me. I'm really into the UI stuff. I'm really into coding. I like doing some shader stuff. And, it's like, I just pretty much get involved in everything. But I suppose most people inside the business would see me as like the creative vision and the person that comes up with the GTDs and gives me back on the project. So, yeah.
Love it. So, without further ado, today we have Jon Hibbins, the CEO and founder of Psytec Games,
who's pretty much about to drop a pretty intense experience on people.
Most well known, I would say, for Windlands 1 and 2. Very big following, very well received games, but they have Titan Isles coming out, and we're co-op fans. We're co-op junkies. There's games that really shouldn't even have multiplayer. That it's like the first words out of my mouth, like, is there any way co-op could work in this? So when I saw this game was coming out, a multiplayer, what feels like roguelite, is it fair to call it a roguelite?
I don't call it that. We don't call it that. It has got, I mean, we can talk about that, but it has got, gosh. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But without further ado, Jon, do you want to give a little introduction of yourself? Obviously, much better than I can. I'm getting sidetracked
CEO, creative director, as well as CEO. So I do all the business stuff as well. Yeah, I mean a bit. Yeah, I mean it's 10 years, almost 11 now, probably of VR. So yeah, I'm still loving it. Still an active part of the community. I enjoy playing VR. I enjoy building VR. I feel privileged that we're continuing to make games. Titan Isles. I mean, you mentioned Windlands 2 there. Windlands 2 was like, for us at the time, was like, we pushed ourselves to the limit. It was the best game we could make. And it was a bit daunting to think that, we've now got to try and beat that. And I so it was like you say, well received, a lot of expectation. And I think we've done it. I think we've got an absolutely great game. Anybody that loves Windlands 2 is just going to hopefully love what we've made. But it appeals to a new audience as well. It's a different type of game. We didn't want to make a Windlands 3. We genuinely thought it was the wrong thing to do. We'd had this concept before the end of making Windlands 2. And it sort of fulfills quite a lot of my dreams in VR. Honestly, there were a lot of things that I wanted to see in VR that now materialized in Titan House. I love it. We do not have a problem as a business playing it. We genuinely, all of us, jump in anytime, any day. I've played hours over the last few days because we're recording a trailer, actually. I'm very excited about the trailer. Demi-Recore has done the trailer for us, so I'm excited about getting that out to everyone. But, we've been doing in the game a lot, and we just enjoy bringing it. So, yeah, I think we've made the game of that we set out to make, and it's materialized into something that's become really great. So I'm hoping you guys found the same. I know you've been in there now, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say about it.
We spent 15 minutes after spending an hour playing, just moving around
with the different classes and the
different classes, and you pointed it out. You're like, yo, we've been doing this for 15 minutes, and all we're doing is literally
10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, we were like, yeah, let's call it a night, blah blah blah, and then there I am, just grappling onto everything I can to figure out all, to get as smoothest mechanics I can with my character. And what the heck was the thought process behind this whole world, let alone the characters? It like seems to touch on a lot of different vibes. We felt like some Star Trek vibes,
some Star Wars Cantina vibes.
Star Wars
I felt like I was
vibes.
Boba Fett with the jetpack.
Superhero vibes.
What's the character from Spider-Man with the
villain?
robot arms, the claws? I was like, that's what that character is like. There definitely felt like a lot of influences.
Yeah.
While remaining its own,
I think there are. I mean, truthfully, a project isn't like, while we've got like a strong vision and like we, it's a group of people that work well together. We've worked together for many years now, in and out of Psytec, actually. Myself, a guy called Steve, and a guy called Pascal, and we've worked together for many years. So a lot of the influences from our own likes end up going in. But we also, we really think hard about what we're trying to build and distilling that. It would be it's very tempting, actually, and it was tempting that you could sort of just be you and then make your own superhero, like give you whatever weapon you fancy using, give you whatever traversal you want to use or whatever. And in reality, that isn't good, right? It's like, because it's very easy to set something up that's just plays badly. And there's this, hopefully you've witnessed this, but there's this thing with the Hunter character, but also Windlands 2 character, where you've got the arc of jumping, firing, catching the next hook, firing, catching the next hook, and you've got this total awareness you've got to have of where you are. And we've carried that sort of main arc into the other suits, and then sort of polished each one of them to be their thing. So it's like, it's like each character. I can talk about the suits a little bit, but this Storm that's a bit like Iron Man, and has this, I think it's an amazing mechanic where you can sort of rifle and pull to pistols, and you've got jets and backpack and stuff, but you've got to land with that character, recharge your suit, and so you're always looking for somewhere to land, but then you're in the air and you can last a long time, and there's upgrade trees where you can last longer, and and then there's Blink where you can sort of dash through things and be invulnerable, triple jump in the air, wall run, fire discs out, and you get new skills at that. And then there's Hunter, who's basically a massively improved Windlands 2 character. It's like there's a lot, you can hook anything, it's got a much more powerful bow and the way it works. But we really love what we did with Windlands 2, and we felt like if we didn't bring the essence of that into one of the suits, we would be letting a lot of people down. And then the last character is like Goliath, who's like sprays bullets, and you can remote explode, and you've got a shield that can eventually bounce bullets back and stuff. And it's like, in distilling to those, like, one weapon, one suit, one, set of core mechanics there, actually the game is so much better for it, because it's meant that I think you'd have found this, and I'm glad you're jumping around the hub a lot and stuff, right? It's like they're very, very easy to have fun with, and the core mechanics themselves are just fun, right? But then they're really deep. I can tell you, even after 2 or 3 years of playing the game, you still get better and better and better and better at it. So, and then of course there's more difficulty levels to cope with that. So yeah, and that was one of the things we really got wrong with Windlands 2. We really, like, the end game for Windlands 2 was either do races or play the game again, right? And there are hundreds and hundreds of Windlands 2 fans that have played that game hundreds and hundreds of times, right? And so we wanted to make sure that the end game had like unlimited replayability. So there is a level, I wouldn't call the game a roguelike, but there is at the end game, you can play the game again and again, and there are hundreds of tiles you will not have seen through the campaign that allow, and each one of the levels is actually procedurally built based on the seed of the runs. So yeah, no two people's experience would quite be the same on the campaign. But there are heartbeats throughout it. So the campaign has these set tiles that you have to pass through and appear for that. But yeah, then in the end game, there are hundreds of tiles, and you can play any one of I think there are 9 themes many, many times, and they will be completely different every time you play them. So that hopefully gives it a bit more of an end game, because it was something we really wanted to address. So I wouldn't say it was a roguelite, but definitely infinite replayability.
So I do want to point out right off the get-go, this is the first time we both agree on this with the settings and the UI for the settings. I've never seen a game have such
VR-fied settings.
Oh my God. The control dials, everything is like, I mean, dude, to the click, you give every option of like controllability for set. I've never seen that set up that way. It's usually like on off. Like, no, that's not good enough. We're going to add like actual dials with hashtags and minus symbols. And plus it's like, this is,
I'd said right away, you can tell this is made by people that play VR, because it was even like, sometimes you see games try to force VR interactability and it ends up a little janky in the sense of like, let's say the dial, when you grabbed it, if it forced your hand to stay physically there, that could kind of create some like weird IK stuff. But how you all did it, when you lock onto the handle, the hand completely disappears and the full control is just, focusing on the dial. But your brain doesn't even notice the hand disappear. Like, it's so smooth.
I didn't notice.
It still feels natural. I was like, this is made by people that understand like how to make VR interactions feel real without over forcing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, and people, I mean, we are, that's what the studio would absolutely like. We're sort of detail first. I don't know how to put it better than that. And we are, to be fair, the Psytec engine, this is like version 3 probably of the UI platform that we've been building on for years, so it's got better and better. But yeah, no, I do a lot of that UI stuff. Again, a bit multi-added. I do a lot of the UI stuff, and I am absolutely focused. I really hate laser pointers. I don't know why. I just like, whenever I see a laser pointer, it's like the laziest common denominator to menus in platforms, and it's just awful. I have no idea why laser pointers are in VR games, but I can understand why it's done, especially if it takes a lot of time to make those systems, right, and make them work and polish out all the stuff. So I can totally understand anybody like just using the Unity's UI platform and sticking a laser printer in your hand. It's quicker. And yeah, a lot of people leave the UI until like last minute because, that's the last thing they're worried about. I think we don't, as a studio, I can tell you UI was like one of the first things to go in the game. It's like, and we've been building it since day one and improving on it and polishing it and stuff. I still don't think it's perfect. Obviously, I still some failures in it, but no, I agree. I did an entire R&D project on making sure we were up to date with all the comfort options and what ones look at default, and we did some research stuff on that, and and then a lot of playtesting, a lot of stuff around left-handed mode and being able to switch, because like even the basic swaps that switch the controllers off really isn't enough for left-handed people. You want to be able to put like special options for people that struggle with controls. And I mean, I'm glad you pointed it out, but we're like a VR players game, and we sort of I get asked a lot, who's the audience here? And I'm like, this is for people that love VR, have played a lot of VR and want a great VR game, right? It's not particularly targeted to people that that are just new to VR or, perhaps more casual players. But I like to think that we're trying to deliver a game that like a game I want really, which is, it's like, I love Half-Life Alyx and I love, it's like all these like great games that have come out before them, like Lone Echo or whatever. And we've tried to build the best game we can for people that love VR, and hopefully that does come across. I mean, we certainly put our heart into trying to do that.
Well, hopefully other people pick up on the UI, because I didn't know I had that much control in settings before. I've seen other games where they give you the full, it's almost overkill, but something about having that
the turn dial, no, it just feels so natural.
See, it felt legit.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention it looks nice as well. It's not a janky image of a panel. It looks
and in
good.
multiplayer it actually matters because you can see somebody else pull up their panel. There's something about that physicality of having a real panel in VR when you see another player, because you immediately know that they're using their option system. because you can see the panel in front of them and they're actually tapping away at it, right? It's like, yeah, whereas like you can imagine a world where like a laser pointed screen had popped up or no screen at all when you're seeing people point at lasers. It's just weird. So yeah, it did matter a lot. I mean, the concept of bringing up a panel like that and making it work the way it does has been, a multi-game thing, but it's definitely, we've stepped it up since Windlands 2 control panel, and I think it shows.
And I do understand
the work there. Thanks for picking up on it. One day I'll do a whole presentation to devs on what to do and what not to do in VR UI, but it is quite, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So thanks for appreciating it.
That's a GDC talk and like a hell of one right there, because that's
I've been to GDC.
Because
I've been to GDC. I'm not sure about the need to do a talk. It's a lot of work, but no, it's
maybe a Meta Connect talk.
It would be a great talk, and I certainly I was with Dilma, who's doing some talks at this Meta Connect and down at Reboot, and I was saying to him there actually, and Eric Cossi, who's one of the engineers that's an engineer back from Oculus days, and I was talking to them about maybe I should do this at some point, but I'm very proud of that work. So thanks for picking up on it. But also, I mean, from a pure VR point of view, it just makes it feel intuitive and better, and it's easier to do stuff. But you're right, there are a lot of options in there. I actually did a full analysis on a lot of software. I probably took 30 pieces of software and just made sure I covered all the odds. We had a good list anyway, because obviously big VR for 10 years, you've got a good understanding of what you need to do. But I've actually got a fairly comprehensive checklist of comfort options, things that people like in games. And I'm still sure we've missed a few, but we'll do patches for anything we've missed.
But what I really liked, like full disclosure, was seeing the quality of it and the amount of control. It gave me a mindset that I'm about to do something special. I'm about to go play something very unique, because I've never experienced just even a settings board like that, let alone what the actual game is. So I want to know like some of the lore for people that are going to jump into this, because this world is weird.
Well, actually, can we get like right real quick? If somebody has never seen the store page or anything, a trailer of Titan Isles, what the hell is Titan Isles? Like, I know you said it's not a roguelite. The page says VR, I think action game or action adventure. How would you tell somebody about Titan Isles that's never seen a picture of it?
I mean, I think it would resonate with you the second I go through that. But I mean, you're right. It's not, but I like that about it. It's like, we're not trying to, as a studio, it's explicitly don't want to make anything that's not Psytec's game, right? It's like we've thought about it hard. We want to make social action adventure games as VR as possible, with freedom, right? For exploration, locomotion, and that's what we focus on as a studio. And our dream and our vision really is to get better and better at doing social action adventure games. So we want to make more, and we've actually got our next game already planned, and we're hoping that this one does well enough to for us to invest behind that, and carry on making social action adventure games. But fundamentally breaking it down beyond sort of like a pitch deck of like, this is what we make and this is where we're going. It's like, we want to make games where you and your mates can go and have a blast, right? It's just fun, and you don't even have to go out into the world to have fun. I'm glad you enjoyed just like flying around. It's like you can just be chatting away, and the mechanics are interesting enough that you just enjoy being with each other, stood there doing nothing in this awesome world where you can see for miles. I mean, that's another, there are a lot of things like, in the industry, probably call these vertical pillars and all sorts of other things, but there are lots of things that is the DNA of a Psytec game. And one of them was to have very large worlds that you can see all the way across the map. And, it's the sense of scale and speed, and, we wanted to capture that, and it's technically incredibly challenging to do on a mobile headset. I can assure you that we're still learning, and we have still a long way to go with it. But it's a really, really complicated thing to do at scale. We've done it and make it perform, and to make it worse, we decided, like, I'll describe it as bullet hell. But in 4 players, there are bullets everywhere, there are mobs everywhere, and there are massive titans to boot. It's like we didn't make an easy job for ourselves. And there are some compromises. Truthfully, there are things that we would love to do, but fundamentally, we don't have the not the financial budget, but the CPU and GPU budget to do. On the PC, we perhaps in the PlayStation version, we perhaps can do a bit more like we can do a bit more around shadows and a bit more about lighting and bloom and things like that, which we can't, just physically don't have the budget for on a Quest. But I'm proud to say it runs on the Quest 2 fairly well. It's like it's running at frame rate. It went through the VLCs. It actually will run on Quest 2, but it will run really well on the Quest 3. It runs at frame rate. It runs at full res. These things are, in my opinion, critical for VR, and I think that a lot of people. No, even AAA, frankly, games like Batman, you have to make compromises. I mean, when I would, technically analyze Batman, they render 50 feet in front of them to cope with shadows, right? And it's like, and there's a Hello Depot just around every door, and they've had to do loading segments, there's texture streaming, there's all these things, but that's fine for Batman because, you can be fairly smallish levels, but it's not fine for us. We've got massive, great big, like literally 200 kilometers there. The world's, I imagine you haven't had a chance to complete it, given you've only just been given it and you said you played for an hour or so. But, there are hundreds of kilometers of levels, all unique, there are a whole bunch of Titans. I can't even remember how many, honestly, but there's like 8 or so. I don't know, 7 or 8 or something. There's a whole bunch of mid-bosses. There's a whole bunch of normal mobs. Some of them are just I'm incredibly proud of. There's one called a Skullcar, which I can't believe we pulled off what that plays like, and I'm really proud of that. But yeah, it's a huge game. There are 9 themes. It's like we managed to do a night mode, which was something people always really wanted out of Windlands. We managed to do a night level. So, yeah, no, it's a lot. It has been a lot of work. It's been probably 5 years in talking, but then 3 years in dev, maybe 2.5 in full production, as you would call it. But yeah, I'm very proud of it. There were moments where I thought, how do we make this from good to great? And then more recently, I've had that feeling that this is a great game and we need to be telling people about it. So yeah, that's really the phase we've gone through. Yeah, we're busy doing the porting stuff at the moment as well. We've basically finished the Quest version, give or take. We've got a close to first day patch that we want to put live that has some improvements in it that are mostly cosmetic and minor things that fixed. But then, yeah, we're now pretty much working on upgrades for the graphics and for the PC and the PlayStation version. So that's where we are.
Well, I have not finished it, admittingly. But I'm very anxious to. I like the fact that it sounds like there's some replayability because I'm enjoying. I can't see it going south, and I'm going to all of a sudden not enjoy what I'm doing. But what I really like is, for the amount of swinging and moving, 0 motion sickness. It's done flawlessly. And what I liked the most, and this happened the other night, I swung up onto like the top of a tree or something, and I got that woozy feeling. I like backed in real life. It was like, whoa. I rarely get that anymore. And I love that experience because I'm believing I'm hanging off a 200-foot drop to my death. And I'm treating it like that. My body's reacting accordingly. So if I stand on the edge and I feel like I'm getting that vertigo, man, you nailed it. Life is good.
Sounds like you played the hunter character. So
yeah, that's going to be my go-to. I tried the other ones. I enjoyed the mechanics of it, but it's got a bow. And I freaking love bows in VR.
To me, nothing beats the jetpack. The distance I can go.
Oh, it's comical.
Dude, there was one time I would be like so far and I'd be like, hey, dude, look at me. I see you down there.
Where are you? You're like, I'm looking in the air.
Whew, just the biggest jetpack go I could. Dude. And then I'm looking at the skill tree.
Have you discovered yet you can put your hands behind your back and fly? Like Iron Man sometimes puts his hands behind your back and flies and directs with his hands. You can do that in that too. We don't talk about it. It's like, as I say, it's just deep, right? It carries on like just when you think you've got it, you can fly.
Wow.
We've upped the top end speed while you're flying like that. So it's like,
my goodness, I know what I'm doing tonight.
So you'll have more control.
And the skill tree, like you can fly longer with it. And like you shooting while you're with the jetpack, I'm like, this is my class right here. But you
checks all the boxes for me,
dude. I have huge appreciation for any co-op game that does this. We didn't need to go through a single player tutorial before. Yeah. We were able to load in the game. You do your settings menu. The next screen is you want to play solo or with friends.
Yeah, because I did like 5 minutes just alone to see if there was any intro I'd have to do. And then we jumped right into co-op. And I'm like,
it's the exact same.
This is the exact same run. This is perfect.
Not a lot of games do that. And it's huge, in my opinion. You know, you buy a game.
You're starting from the beginning.
Dude, sometimes there's been co-op games I play where it's like, that's the whole first day we play it together.
Yeah.
We each have to do a tutorial. And it's like, well, we went into this for co-op. Yeah. You know, it's like, that's just another notch in this is made by VR gamers.
Yeah.
But you had asked lore before. And I think that was a really good question. I'm sorry to cut it off to go like, what is this game? But what is the lore of Titan Isles? There's these Titans we're killing. We got these different classes.
I am so proud of the narrative. I mean, it was something we really struggled with on Windlands 2, truthfully. We didn't have much budget. You know, we struggled to get the actors. We struggled to get writers. We struggled ourselves to get head around telling a story. It's actually this weird. I've got to tell it because it's just so interesting. I had a meeting with Ian Livingston, who's known for Warhammer. He made Warhammer, and he made a whole bunch of books called, a legend in the industry, right? You know, if you've anything to do with Warhammer and Citadel and everything, you know, he is. Anyway, I was chatting with him, and I came away from that meeting knowing that all the answers I gave were weak in storytelling. It was like I could talk about games, but like whenever it talked about storytelling, I was like, right, okay, we've got to deal with this going forwards, right? So we've put real effort as a company in to get better at storytelling. Steve, who works for Psytec, COO and multiple hats, has really done an incredible job at taking an original Bible we did and then elaborating that into scripts and then trying to get, you know, I think you probably spotted it, but get comedy in so that it wasn't just a null and void. You know, we've got a tone of fun yet, you know, slightly comedic at times. We wanted to get that feeling of like Whitley or whatever in, but not too much because we weren't trying to tell, you know, who can tell a Portal game on our budget, right? But we wanted to get enough of it in that you felt it. And then towards the end, we ended up really getting incredible actors, mostly honestly through you know, networking colleagues that we work with that managed to pull a load of favors for us. There is no way on earth we could have afforded these actors and the process unless we were, first of all, indie, and secondly, we've just got really good friends that helped us out. But, you know, I don't know whether you know, but the guy who does Quirk is from Overwatch and Diablo and Warhammer, the real games. You know, the Kirsty Gilmore did our voice direction, and she did the voice direction for Baldur's Gate 3. And Dave Jones also worked on Baldur's Gate 3, one of the main characters, Space Marines as well. And then we got like Assassin's Creed and Stellar Blade actors and stuff. And it was like when we managed to get that line, it's like, how have we made this happen? And the script was pretty good. And it was like, you know, so I don't know how we'll ever, you know, hopefully we'll get to make another game, but I don't know how we're going to top that, right? We've got real talent in there. So yeah, the lore is, you know, to summarize this, like eons ago, there was the same race styles as the inhabitants of the planet had to battle some organic robot, aliens that attacked the planet, and they built these Titans to defend the planet. And here we are eons later, and the Titans have woken up out of the ground and actually started to attack us because they just don't know who we are anymore. And that's the basic lore, really summarizing it. But, you know, I mean, this side lore and all sorts of, you know, we built out a real lore for the planet. And but we, you know, fundamentally, I think we had the concept of the storyline fairly early on, but fundamentally we wanted to, it's funny, Titans is a really interesting thing. We built some fairly big monsters in Windlands 2, and it's really fun attacking giant creatures as a group. So we sort of like just wanted to lean into that because we felt that it's really amazing in VR to have the scale of something like like maybe the third boss in Titan Oz is, I don't want to, spoiler alert, turn off now if you like in, but it's like a giant tripod thing, and it's like got lasers that fire and stuff. And we were, you know, we really wanted to explore Titans, and you can make Titans too big. We've had the opportunity to try all sorts of scales and different types and 3D models of Titans, and you'd think, wow, we could make a 400-foot Titan or a whole level of the Titan, and truthfully, you need there's this sweet spot of size of Titan where it feels epic and ginormous, but it's not too big to fly around. I mean, you don't want to be spending 5 minutes flying around trying to get to the back of it or whatever. The Titans are fairly epic. And then it was like, how do we mature our thought process about bosses and fight mechanics, but not make it too intricate that it becomes a puzzle, but make it fun that the threat increases. I mean, if we get it right, and I think sometimes we really get it right, you start to sweat towards the end of the fight because it's intensifying, and you're struggling to dodge the bullets, or you're timing, jumping over something or whatever, and the bullets, the homing rockets now are firing at you, and some enemies appear, and like suddenly it's like, oh my god, this is just like intensified. But hopefully you got that right. How did you get on? Do you take down a few Titans?
The first one, 100%. Like I'll describe it as like a spiderish type.
Yeah, with the armor, you have to clear off the armor spots
on the legs and around
the middle.
Holy crap! There was a learning curve because it throws. Spoiler, I'll say it. Mute for a minute. When it throws the fire right across the floor, 3 times in a row.
I couldn't time my jump,
and then I'm
all.
And again, to the point of being so into something, you're forgetting the character you are. It was the 3rd time, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. I just pulled myself right up to the top, and I'm like, all right, let me think how this is going to play out. I'm like, whew. So there's good strategy involved too. We're doing a lot of talking with killing that Titan. I love the scale too. It's legit.
And you had mentioned
even in the intro,
I had caught you had said with 4 players, it's like bullet hell. We've only played with 2 players right now. Does that mean that more players you play with, the more enemies and hellfire going on?
Yeah,
essentially?
It's it balances around how many players are in there. So like shell shock is an interesting one. So at the bottom, one player, we can't have it do certain things. I'll give you an example, right? It actively in phase 3 turns phase 4, the last phase, turns its heart, which you've got to sort of destroy. A few spoilers here. It's probably a spoiler. It will turn away from you to protect itself, like that's its AI. And in multiplayer, well, that's fine because there's 4 of you. So 2 can keep its aggro at the front, 1 can swing around the back and get. The single player, that would be like every time you're trying to kill it, it just turns away from you and hides itself. So it's like it will slow its turn down in single player. It will. Things don't really scale either. It's like the amount of damage in 4. Obviously, you don't want it to be a sponge, but so the amount of damage in 4 players is slightly less than perhaps 4 times 1 player, and it's all these balances. The amount of like in 4 player, it can fire out like 4 homing ground rockets at once because it's got to deal with 4 targets at once, and this just a lot going on really. I mean, there's a lot of the design. I mean, multiplayer is a big, huge, enormous thing. We've got our own multiplayer engine that we've built up over years, and that's got better and better. But it's an enormous thing to balance it, but also to keep it performant, make sure that everybody's having a good time, and that everything looks non-stuttery, everything else. And I'm really, really proud of that work. Pascal did most of that engineering for that. We're really proud of the work we've done there, and it really shows when you're playing those big, again, like almost impossible to pull off. I don't think there's another game quite like it. Hopefully we've done an amazing job of doing something very special for VR, but there's a lot going on, a lot more than most games, I think. But in a good way, right? We hopefully most people balance the difficulty so that the normal difficulty, most people that are reasonably good at VR should be able to get through the game and enjoy the game for it is without being too punishing. How did you get on? Did you actually end up with a reboot or going back to the hub? Or
yeah, we went back to the hub after the level, and that's when we started sticking around for 20 minutes. We were like, well, all right, have a good night. And then 20 minutes later, 15 minutes later, we're just flying around.
I was grabbing
shooting stuff. I was like, yeah. So that was our plan, is just do one level and hop right off. And then we went back to the hub and played around.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. We have so much to do.
So speaking of that, because that's always an important question. If someone was to like, all right, I want to play start to finish, till start to credits
of the campaign, because I know you could endlessly play.
What do you think would be an expected playtime? Obviously, more than better.
We've got real stats around that, so we know. But I don't know. It depends on a player. I mean, the problem is, and I've seen this from a couple of early reviews things, is that it is good enough to burn it. You know, when you get something quite that you like, and a few people are just like, so it's probably good you savor it a little bit. The runs are about 30 minutes long, right? And they're sort of timed to be that length because that's like, you probably read the recent Meta article, but we worked this out a long time ago, right? 30 minutes is like a sweet spot of like, you know what you're getting into. It's like you pick it up any time and just have a 30-minute go with your mates. And the game fundamentally, although it's got a full campaign, and that's all great. At end game, it's like, oh, let's just go and dick around a bit, so excuse my swearing there, but let's just go playing a game. What do you want to play? Let's go play Tie and Arts for a bit, and you could have a 30-minute run, and it would all be good, right? And so the actual campaign maybe 6-8 hours if you're fast and you're really going for it and doing a good job. It's got unlimited end game playability. I mean, I honestly think if you want to collect there are 100 relics, 100 targets. There are 32 content creators hidden around the world. The platinum equivalent of this is hundreds of hours probably to do all of that and get all the races and everything. So yeah, there's plenty of content there, and we did want to make sure that people could go back. A lot of the games that I love, like Walkabout Mini Golf or things like that, they just have that draw as a social place to be, and we wanted to try and give somebody a much more higher intensity, but let's go and get our buzz and have a 30-minute session. But of course, there's nothing stopping you doing 2 or 3 sessions. You can be there for hours hunting for things or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know whether you tried any more of the more difficult levels, but for those that are up for that challenge as well, there's 2 beyond normal. There's a heroic and a legendary difficulty, which are way more brutal. And we can do heroic fairly well, but we've been playing for a long time. But we will still wipe sometimes on the boss, for instance. Legendary, a few tiles in and you're struggling. So you've got to be really good at playing. And there's a lot of, you talked about multiple character quests, that there's quite a lot of cross pollution of skills and tactics that you need at more difficult levels. So a lot of the characters actually do interact with each other. I'll give you an example. If Goliath shoots its goop and Hunter shoots the goop has an explosion that's a little bit bigger. So you can like time your bullets together and things that help you. Also, a lot of the mobs and bosses have had tactics built into them. Picked up any of that because I'm sure now you probably wouldn't have time to see all these things. But you can shoot the engines off the sentinels and they'll just drop to the floor. You can swing behind the turrets and shoot the weak spot if you know what you're doing. You can slide under the legs of like one of the later ones, and there are tactics like you could have a set because you can go in like all the same suit if you wanted to. So there are tactics like specifically built out of a full Goliath set with reflective shields that you can do. And yeah, we've managed to put a bit of depth in there for end game that, if you really get good, there's like that extra bit of tactics and skill that gives you some fun. So, but yeah, there's a lot. And of course, you've got to upgrade all the skills. One run will give you one skill tree, mostly upgraded. There are full skill trees, 4 characters, so you can play the whole game again as a different character. That's fine.
Every checkbox. I mean, it's so obvious you're gamers.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious from the load-in screen to the gameplay. A lot of times when I play a game, I like to try to see like mentally what is it comparable to. I got nothing. I come up empty, and that is a good thing because I can't say like, oh, it looks like they leaned on this particular game or they leaned. It's like, no, this is their own freaking thing.
I think it's one that we're definitely going to be doing the full campaign for. Probably going to be on the rotation of like you said, oh, we got 30 left. Let's get one more game.
Nailed it because we do that with Walkabout all the time.
And Mother Gunship Forge. We do that with a lot of games. Dungeons of Eternity.
Yep.
They all kind of hit that sweet spot of time. No, I'm hugely impressed with this. Like I said, definitely going to be beating the game. I think we made it about 10-15 minutes in before we were like, there's something special here. We play a lot of VR games. We've been doing the podcast 4 years now. You get a good idea what's hitting a spot and what's not.
Track record's been pretty good.
It didn't take long before we were like, oh, dude, we're going to be playing this a lot.
What's special?
Yeah.
That's good to hear. And the other good thing is it gets better. I was really, really worried that like halfway through the game it would start to drop off, because we actually at one point we brought through to the front Oh god, this is a long talk, but we brought a few of the Titans earlier, right? And a lot of the mobs earlier because we felt that we wanted to sort of drip feed stuff originally. And we felt, you know what, actually we're having more fun with the later stuff that's a bit more like a lot of it. So there's a bit more a mixture, and the Titan, we'd spread the Titans a little bit thin. So we brought a lot of that forwards, and it started to get great, right? I was like, yeah, this is it. We've got the essence. And then I was like, okay, well, now we don't want the back end to be weak, but actually I feel it gets stronger and stronger, and the final Titan's amazing. And, it's like a multi-level thing. And, so I feel like I hoped to drop enough carrots that you would want to see the next Titan and that we wouldn't let you down. I think it's very disappointing if it's like, there's a world where we had 3 Titans, right? And that's all we could have done, right? And it would have been very disappointing. I think, there's only 3 of these, but we did just enough, I think, well, a bit more than enough probably, that you'll have your favorite Titans, your favorite suits by the end of it. And that's great. It's an interesting observation. It's like the 4 suits, and I watch playtesters, they choose a suit fairly quickly, and that's their favorite. But it's never the same one. It's never the same one. It's like I've seen people go, pick up Blink, start practicing Blink, and then I'm sticking with Blink. Right? It's like, this is my suit. This is me. So I'm very proud of that. That's a testament to a lot of gameplay testing as well. But I think all 4 suits are great. I've got opinions on this, but I quite like Storm for just messing around. I like Hunter's classic. I learned the bow, and I just love being Hunter. And whenever I go back to that, I still enjoy playing it. I play Goliath a lot, but actually my favorite's actually Blink. Blink is so super easy to start with, but the deepest of deepest to get good at. Especially when you get to the point where you throw them with both hands either over your shoulders or whatever, and you remember that you can blink through enemy weapons and blink behind them, like through them, and getting your triple jumps right in the air because you can dash sideways and stuff as well. So it's a little bit like Returnal character that you can sort of dash through things and dash around. It's really quick to pick up, and it's like I'm still mastering it, but I love that character. It feels great to me.
Well, exactly what you said happened to us.
Yeah.
We clicked through all the characters and we both went, nope, this one's the one I'm sticking with.
Well, dude, when I picked Hunter first, and I'm like, holy crap, I can see my grappling arms.
Oh,
like I was moving my arms and I see my
it's so cool.
I'm like, this is freaking cool. Yeah, I can spend way too much time just screwing around in the hub area with characters though. But I feel like I'm always going to lean on Hunter.
It's definitely an easy to learn game, but hard to master. You can see that
we figured that out real quick too. It's like you better have some strategy if you're going to play with someone.
And even, man, I keep hyping up how much I love the VR interactability you all put in this. Like, again, I can't say it enough. Down to the cantina. Like, boom, I walk over to the chair. I'm like, oh, I think I should be able to sit in it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can sit in it. Sit down. I was like, dude, come over here. Let's go. Let's have a quick seat.
I've just upgraded the cantina. It like all projects, right near the end, things that like get pushed because you just like your priorities just say, right, we have the time to do that, right? And literally the last few days, I've put in the screens now work. So there's adverts for other VR games on the screens now. And I thought, well, maybe nobody will want to do this, right? So I reached out to my friends. And honestly, I reached out to 12 people that I know that, I thought, are good friends in VR. And I said, can you give me an image of this screen? I'm going to do it in Hub and whatever. And like within 8 hours, all 12 replied with images ready for it. So I'm trying to support the games industry a little bit by, remember Space Pirate Trainer, and I know the team there, so I've known them since like Connect 2 or something, right? They had that big spinning disc with the advertisements on it. Do you remember that far back? It was like, I don't know what it had on it actually, but other games. And I always thought, can get a reason to help cross promote other VR games. So it's not like there's no benefit for it. It's just cool to have stuff. So yeah, I've got a few. I don't want to give too much stuff away, but Flat VR, Eric sent some stuff, and yeah, just a whole bunch of people have sent some images for the hub, and it looks really cool. And so I wrote a new shader where it slightly flickers so it doesn't look like a poster, and if you get really close you can see the LCD on it, like attention to detail on this little, you can see the little sub pixels and stuff. I was like So yeah, the hub's going to get better. And there's a few little other things I wanted to do in the hub that probably will make it into a patch. Just a few interactability things and a little bit more social stuff in there that really hard to justify when you're trying to get the VRCs done for the Quest store. It's like, oh, we're just going to go away and create a screen with advertisements on the wall, but make a huge difference for the environment.
I love to hear that. I think we saw the potential of the Cantina right away. I was like, okay, I
don't think anything in this game is set there by accident. I look at some things as there's futures probably somewhere down the line with other things. I'm in it. I mean, it blew me away from what I thought I was going to play to what it is. So, I mean, I'd encourage people, you love co-op.
What did you think you were going to play? I'm genuinely interested in what you thought of Titan Isles prior to playing it compared to what you do afterwards.
Looking at the video I saw of it, and it's a great video, but to me, what I experienced, I don't feel is articulated as good as that video. You know what I'm saying? Like, the video is its own thing. The gameplay I had didn't know it was going to be like that. Graphically, I kind of knew what to expect based on a video, but it's hard to take VR gameplay, put it to video, right? And have it feed the same when you play the game, with the exception of like Beat Saber, maybe Walkabout, and even then I've seen some video that doesn't do it justice. So to me, that's why it's like,
it might still be an industry challenge. That one thing, it's like you sort of have to play it, and you can, as I say, Demo Cora has done the trailer, and when you followed his stuff, but like we've got a new trailer coming out, which does a so much better job of showing scale and story, and hopefully it works better than the video we have the trailer out there at the moment. And we've actually, if I hadn't met him at Connect last year and had a good conversation with Dr. Doom at Live, probably, and set of other circumstances that are difficult to even trigger down, we probably wouldn't have done it that way. But we really felt that it was worth investing more in a trailer and working together with him on that, because how do you get across a feel of a game and the mechanics and the scale and the size of it and all the rest of it in a trailer? You just can't. And that probably is the number one challenge for us. And I'm glad you guys are loving the game. I'm certainly not prompted any of this. I appreciate that you're liking it, but it's really difficult when you sort of know you've got a great game. And we are, while there are a lot of people that were fans of Windlands 2, it does not represent, there are lots of people that just have no idea what Windlands is or Windlands 2, right? They just weren't there from the start or whatever, because I don't know, even Windlands 2 is like 6-7 years old now. And certainly Windlands is like nearly 10, right? It's like 10 years old. It's not like a lot of people have played it or seen it or heard of it. And yeah, so I'm hoping that we can get the news out there and more people like yourself that can give it a bit of a buzz and let people know that there's a great game to try here, whether helping us first, just when it first launches or later when it's on sale or whatever. That's right, the better. We really want to make more stuff. We know what we want to make next, and we've it's a challenging environment at the moment. Truthfully, I think we didn't make money on Windlands 2 on the PlayStation VR, and not as much as it cost us to make it. And then we've really genuinely spent every penny we've got, right, getting us to the point where we're launching. Because I'm just describing like trailers and actors, and like we really, we didn't hold back. We've we put a bit, not running our money today. Nobody's got to panic about that or write that article. But fundamentally, our runway is fairly short right now. We need to get it out there and hope and get it to sell so we can make more games. And there's lots of knock-on effects. We've worked with Meta on this, and they've been amazing, and that's helped with quality and a million other things. And they'll help us push it, I'm sure, especially when they start to hear how good the reception's been. Fingers crossed and everything. But we want to work with them on future titles, and we want to work. We need perhaps growth and investment, and all of that matters how well it sells. So it's a huge deal for us that we actually do get some sales, really. And it's a tough market right now for gaming across the board. So I've got my fingers crossed that people love it and the word of mouth gets out there, and we can sell some copies so that we can carry on making more some games, actually.
Like, I do want to make it, the trailer's good. So I don't want to downgrade the work on the trailer. The trailer is good. It just,
Callum did
being able
trailer,
to carry over.
The new one will be so much. It's impossible, right? It's impossible. And Yeah,
Well-
no, there's nothing wrong with the old trailer. It is a good trailer, I agree, but it is impossible to like.
Well, when you're and when you're hitting a world with like an environment that's never existed before, gameplay for me that I don't have
To be honest
anything
with you, 4 different games like Storm and Hunter.
depending on how you
Link.
want to play it. Yeah,
It's like those
So
are
it's like,
completely different games
how
from each
the-
other when you change the class. Just
how
the
do
way
you
it plays.
take the bulk of all this, a game with unlimited replayability, 4 characters, whole bunch of unlockables,
Single player or co-op,
everybody got their own mechanics, special shit going on,
skill trees.
and you got 30 seconds to put that into a trailer. Like, it's not happening. The scale of it alone is too, like, you could do a trailer just on Hunter and a bow, you know, in 30 seconds. So it's definitely not taken away from the work that went into it.
Well, that would have
'cause
been Winlands, though, right? It would have been like, you know, it would have been a Winlands game, or it would have like there's a lot of difference between this and Winlands. Winlands is a much more relaxed game, and it has passive, a lot of scenery moments, a lot of this is pretty much every room you enter, there's something going on, right? And a new challenge, and it's non-stop, start to finish. So it is a lot more intense. But yeah, we just didn't want to make a Winlands game. I think we could make a very good Winlands 3 game. I'm sure we could. But yeah, it wouldn't have given everything you've just described. It's like enough to carry, if you get bored, someone else to play with, right? And that's cool. I like that. Again, fundamentally, I want to make social games where the quality of the social world is high. The actual gameplay while you're socially hanging out together is, you'll get moments where you've got breathing time. I mean, the flow is breathing time to talk and group up and take your time, even to the point where we've got like these fog walls that you sort of group up outside of because something's happening on the other side. We've paced it so you've got time to breathe and chat and hang out, but then there are moments, especially battling the Titans, where everything is about, shouting, you do this, I'll do that. All right. And it's like strategizing. And if anything, I think we amplify that towards the end of the game. Certainly mid-game, there's a few Titans I can think of now that require you to communicate in multiplayer, otherwise you're probably not going to make it, and require you to have strategy. But as I say, we didn't really want to make it so it required this enormous complicated puzzle to beat a Titan. We wanted to make it so it was still, there was a few soft ways of doing better, and if you communicate that, you can have a better time. But I've definitely been in games where everybody's all over the place doing whatever they want and failing miserably and dying a lot and all the rest of it, and that's fine as well, But it's not a brutal game unless you switch heroic and legendary on. Then, well, legendary is brutal. I have to warn you. Don't start there. It's designed for those people that play a lot.
I can't conceive any part of my brain that looked at that said, yeah, we're going to start at the absolute. No. Knowing the people behind it, like, oh yeah, it's going to be easy, right? No, that's not even.
Oh, there is an easy mode. There is an easy mode. You can go down.
There's an easy mode.
The one that we did wasn't bad.
No,
that was
I
easy.
think
That
we
was
did normal.
Yeah,
we did the normal, the default.
Yeah,
not messing with nothing.
Most people should have a
more
good time.
Yeah, we're not going deep in the deep end with this game, but we'll work our way up
out of the
sure.
gate. How long
for sure
we'll lasted?
We'll work our way there, but it would have been intimidating.
I think you and your team should feel proud. You're about to drop something real special on the VR community that I don't think people are going to be prepared for. It's going to be good,
and we're vocal week after week about current store page visibility issues.
I love to hear that. You're making me quite emotional, honestly, because we poured our heart into it, and I really hope that this, it does all right. I mean, if we don't make any other games, we are very proud. I mean, we talk internally about this, but we are very proud of what we've done. We did the best job we could with the small group of people we've got, and we, to work with some of the people that we've managed to work with has been, humbling, honestly. In a lot of cases, a miracle, and we just hope that that's all right, and that we can carry on making games. It's as simple as that. It really is that. I know it's difficult to see it, but it really is that tough for us and probably a lot of other studios. It's like, if this flops, that's it. Genuinely, we just don't have enough runway to carry on the company, because we've put all our runway into this game, and venture capitalists aren't investing heavy. Meta's investing less than they have. All the deals are looking, split revenues and things like that. It's a real tough time for VR after 10 years in it. I can tell you that most companies are on their own now, and if a game flops, it can be the end of the company. And I don't want to, hopefully we're not there, and we have got some runway, so nobody panic about us, right? But it's not enough to make another game. Making another game will be a case of more venture capitalist money into the company, which means we've got to impress people with how well this game does, which in this environment is going to be tough. And so anybody that buys the game, thank you, appreciate it. You're really genuinely helping the bottom line out so that we can carry on making games. And we do know what we want to make next. It sort of changes the window. If this sells well enough, then that will change the picture slightly. But we do want to start work on our next game. It's been we have the trademark for it for a while now, and it's been a GDD for a while, and we know what we want to make. We've got our heart, we want to make another social action adventure game, right? But it's slightly more ambitious in many ways and slightly more interesting in other ways, and a lot of the engine has been going towards it. But we're really excited about our next project, and we want to be able to get going on it. I
love a team
if we
that's
have the
willing,
privilege of going on.
the fact that you all are willing to challenge yourself to that degree, because what you're releasing now is pretty damn ambitious to me when you look at every little detail of it. And to already be having the mindset of can't wait to do something even harder.
Wow. Well, I'm hoping there'll be some more hardware. I'm excited about the next round of hardware. I mean, we're privileged enough to have access to some future hardware and things, and we've got I can't talk about any of that, right? But I'm really excited about. What I can talk about is how exciting the industry is right now. After 10 years of doing this, the industry could never be at a more exciting spot. And it sort of feels wrong for me to be saying, oh, the gaming industry is struggling a little bit or whatever. Actually, it's never been a better opportunity right now. You probably see about Vision Pro back there, and it's incredible operating system, absolutely stunning operating system, amazing. I watch movies in it, I get giddy about using it, and now I've got things stuck to my wall if I put it on, and it's like, and I've got Mac screens that come in, and my phone now distributes to it, and I watch the new Alien Earth in it every week. I get literally giddy with excitement to sit on the moon in a Vision Pro and watch Alien Earth. It's like giddy with excitement. I don't, amazing device, way too heavy, way too expensive, but that is going to change by version 2, 3, become more accessible and more powerful, right? And the quality of it in terms of like the things you can do, like getting, like me and the Oasis mic sometimes go in to check out the latest features in the personas or whatever, and we'll just stand in the same space watching a movie or doing playing with a 3D model. It's like just phenomenal, that set. So it's a whole operating system then, and you've got obviously it's very hot at the moment with Valve Deckard, and sadly the Bradley, I've been speaking to him over the weekend. He's giving me some 3D print models for the controllers I can take, because we've got an event this week, so my 3D printer is literally buzzing away right now printing it. But I've been chatting to him about and I've been to Valve and all the other things, and it's like, so there's a whole operating system inbound to reboot PC, and fingers crossed Valve will have a new game and all the rest of it. But even not, it makes PC gaming accessible, right? And there's so many good PC games, and there's so much good back catalogue that's great. So that's 2 operating systems, 3 operating systems. We've got Meta OS, and then of course we've got Google XR, which are starting with Samsung, and that's great, but people, you don't miss the big picture here. That's their first partner to market with a headset mostly aimed at content or enterprise, things like that, because that's sort of Samsung's thing, or content for, but it does have controllers, right, which is great. And obviously Vision OS now supports the these things, what they're called, I don't know what they're called, but it supports these. And, that's coming with the Vision OS this month. The Apple stuff is like in September. So it's like now Vision OS, that version will come out, and then games could be shipped to it. And then Google's strategy is an open platform. So anybody that makes a headset can then use that operating system for their headset. And it supports controllers, and it has systems for it. So for me, it's like we're going from like one series, Meta, and honestly, I think Meta are going to do a lot more with gaming, but also a lot more with glasses-based technology and everything. And I'm super excited to be at Connect next week and find out more about that and speak, behind, and see Zuckerberg talking about it, but also behind the scenes talking about the future stuff. And Yeah, it's just couldn't be any more exciting. This is like a real pivot in terms of visual quality, in terms of operating systems, and for serious players in the market. And I spend a lot of my time now speaking to devs, trying to encourage them to, even if it makes no financial sense at all, to put it on Vision Pro, to put it on OpenXR, because without the content is king for these things. Without our content being on all these platforms, where would VR be today if it wasn't for the fact we took a bet on DK1 and DK2 and put Windlands 1 on that platform, right? And we're one small cog in that very, very gigantic wheel, but there would be no, I was privileged enough to be around all the people along the entire route here. I was there when Beat Saber was shown on the show. Pistol Whip was on the show floor in front of us, and Beat Saber was shown in the Alpha, and then and go right back here, and then obviously Animal Company and everything going on from now. I've followed their background from when they were doing their 3D social stuff, and it's like now where they are, and it's like none of that would be here if it wasn't the fact that actually it was a bit of a symbiotic relationship between the platforms and the content creators. And I certainly have those meetings, and a lot of NDAs here, but I do speak to Google and Valve, and and I'm having those conversations behind the scene, and it's difficult because there isn't enormous amounts of free flowing cash to support anything. But if everybody takes the right steps, it's a little bit like the TBs I'm doing in the hub. If everybody supports each other, takes the right steps, and does the right things, then VR is already strong and certainly isn't going anywhere, but it could just go from strength to strength. And I feel a little bit right now because of the economy, free cash. Venture capitalists is mostly funneled into AI right now. And, it's like maybe a little bit of down period we're going through at the moment, but we're about to come out of that into a very, very exciting next 12 months.
Well, we felt it at the start of the year. You called it the year of restructure, recovery. Some people went pretty deep the year before.
There might be a realism check as well. I mean, there might not be as many Deadpools and Batmans and stuff, but they'll still be there. There'll be high quality stuff. I'm hoping Resident Evil 9, is it 9 or 10? But the next Resident Evil has VR support, but they're not shouted about it yet. But Capcom has, ever since Kitchen, right, have been big VR supporters, and I hope they do the same and don't let their fans down more than anything. Yeah, but yeah.
No, I think 26 is going to be pretty big in both hardware and with some of the games we're going to see coming out.
Yeah, end of the year of 2025, even content-wise, we have so many big games coming at the end of 2025, including, in my opinion, Titan Isles.
Yeah, this
coming September 25th.
This one's special.
You can pre-order it now, 10% off, full price in US dollar. I know.
Yeah, or wish listing actually helps. If you can't buy it, please wishlist it, because it pushes us up the wishlist chart, which has been talked about a lot recently as well. But it helps us. It all helps us.
Yeah, I think that's something that not enough people do on the MetaQuest store. It's kind of like, it's easy to miss the add to wishlist button on the mobile page and on the web page, but it helps devs so much. It's free. You don't need to pre-order a game to add it to your wish list.
You're just wishing it.
And then, dude, you get a nice little email when it's out too. It's if it's genuinely a game you want.
And I know, like on Steam, they'll send an email if you wish listed something and you didn't buy it and it goes on sale. It'll be like, hey, that thing you wish listed 3 years ago.
Yeah. And what I was going to say too, though, is like, this is a game. And again, you were very clear with us of like, dude, if you don't like the game, you want to hear it. This was not prompted towards us at all to compliment the game.
We just naturally, be honest, honestly.
Yeah, we loved it. Like I can see the potential in this right away. Big fan of co-op gaming, even in the sense that I would challenge VR content creators to play this game and not love it. Like, I think when this is out in people's hands and it's out in the wild, I think the natural word of mouth of content creators and gamers,
I think you'll see a lot of.
I think it's gonna spread like wildfire. People love co-op games in VR. This one's something special. So, I mean, if you like VR, it's so clearly made by VR gamers. And it's single. I keep saying co-op. It's single player too. If you don't want to play with people, you don't like to talk to people, you want to put on a headset and be by yourself, they're solo. And it's just as fun too. So, I mean, yeah.
It's very well balanced to play. I've played the whole game many times in single player. I love playing it in single player. You don't have to play it. Yeah, I mean, it's not demanding multiplayer. In fact, I love the fact that you've got that option that you can jump in and play on your own. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, game's very very polished, very fun. I can't say it enough. I think when it's out in the wild, it's going to spread. We talk weekly about like the current, I guess you could say, woes, like visibility issues that everyone talks about with the MetaQuest store. I don't think you can be as like reliant as like, featured on the homepage for so long and getting, as much store visibility as games got pre-App Lab. But I think a game like this that's unique, it's not doing what every other game has done. I think the natural word of mouth is going to take over, and understandable from the dev side, leading in, you're like, I really hope this does good. I really hope this, takes off and people love it. But as somebody that doesn't have the same nerves, because I'm not in the dev cycle of this game, I'm pretty confident in it. It hits the spot. So I'm excited to see it out in the wild.
Love to hear that.
To be honest with you, we usually, when we start the interviews, we have somebody do an intro. We go a little bit into their background before we go into the game. We went right into Titan Isles here. So before we wrap it up, if you don't mind, John, you are what I would call an absolute OG in the industry. Psytec Games was formed in 2015? Like, if you look at the state,
I think
of
that's
VR,
when it became a limited company. Yeah, but I mean, it was like, I think we started VR before then. I mean, it took us a while to get to a limited company.
Look at the state of the industry at that time. It's one thing you're still taking a chance. If you start a VR company today, you're still taking a massive chance, let alone 11, 12 years ago. So real quick, can you tell us a little bit about how you discovered VR and what, the leading into Psytec Games?
Well, it's Crystal Rift, really. I mean, I've been a developer. So I released my first game when I was 18. You only need to look at me now to see that I'm not 18 anymore. I released it on the Amiga, and it's a game called Squigs. It's out there. There are people that, I don't know, create history like vaults and like keep everything. So it was on the front cover of Amiga Power at one point. And, so it's like that you can go play it, but it's like, I don't know, Collins Match 3 type game before Match 3 was really a thing. So I sort of released my first game at 18. And before I released that, since I was 9, I've been ZX81 onwards tinkering, making games. So I've probably made hundreds of unfinished games, a fair few finished ones that, I hadn't even thought about the business acumen to take to market. And then I sort of I got proper jobs, I've spent majority of my career as a CTO in some very big companies, like one of the biggest in the world called CCL. I was group IT manager for them for a while, and then I've been CTO for companies like Catkin and, various other companies. And it's very, very, games industry's always been a hobby for me. And I've had this proper serious job, but that actually sort of over time. The reason I'm doing this today is because the last few people I worked with, I just felt like I was a strong CEO guidance type person. So I was like, I've got to do this full time. I can't just do this. Windlands 1 was more of a hobby, and Crystal Rift came before it. Well, Crystal Rift is where it started with VR for me. So I was making this dungeon crawler game that was modernized from a game called you might not know it, but there's a game called Dungeon Master, and he had a few other games that were similar, Eye of the Beholder, and I could carry on. There's loads of similar games, but it's isometric, maze type isometric games, and there weren't really modern versions of them, so you couldn't turn left, turn right, and full 3D and all these type of things. So I was making this game with an editor. That was just my little hobby. And I was working one day in a bar called Dalston Bar. There's a relationship. It was on Wednesday. I'm back up there. But and it was a indie group of people, like my kin, people that were making indie games, a whole bunch of people in a pub when it wasn't open, before it opened, just hanging out, making games. And it was just fun to be around that type of people, and I saw some incredible people in there making some amazing games. I mean, Gang Beast, Sky started there, and I saw version 0.01 of Gang Beasts, and the list goes on, right? It's lots and lots of games you would now know as real games. They start off at these little indie hubs, right? And even to this day, I spend a lot of time with indies and enjoy working with them and seeing what they do. But and then one day, literally, somebody walked into the pub with it. I did not back the Kickstarter, sadly, but somebody that did came in and said, I've got one of these DK2s, plonked it in the middle of us and said, does anybody want to piss around with this, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll have a go. And I actually, it did take me long to do, but an hour later, maybe I got Crystal Rift running in the DK1, and I'd start playing with it, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if there was a jump scare down this first corridor. That would be really cool. So I made this like rather arbitrary, noisy jump scare that sort of came at you. And I'd gone from like, bear in mind, this is weeks of hanging out there where people were like, had played the game and they were passively interested, to sort of a queue of people that wanted to play the game. And it was like this, honestly, a bolt of lightning of how much, for me personally, just doing the port, forget the jump scare in the queue, right? For me doing the port, it was like a bolt of lightning. It's like, this is so much better and more immersive. And like, this is the future of gaming that I've been looking for. I've got a bit more history than that. I went to college in Nottingham, and the old Virtuoso VR machines, actually they had two of them in Nottingham that you could pay to go and see, but basically it was their development hub with a front window, and you pay like £5 for half an hour or whatever to play one of their games. It's like the Wizard game or Pterodactyls on it and stuff. And they were in the back room on Amiga 4000 again, my kin, right, around these developers that were making the game, and every week I'd be like going and beta testing this VR game. So I've got a bit more history than that. So I always have loved VR. It's not like this was the only VR, but this was the first device that I truly, not only could I work with, I did, but actually made a lot of sense. And then from that minute onwards, really, I started to attend events in London and around and about, and started to get to know people. I met a guy called Nick Prittham, which, you know, for OG people will remember, he did like the original Ghibli demos of the cat, and he did like worked on some absolutely amazing products and games, you know, award-winning stuff. There's a game called interactive visual experience called Colossus, and he worked on I can't remember what it was called now, the police game, where it was like, it was all, he's a very art-driven person, was doing some amazing stuff. But yeah, we worked together on Crystal Rift, and really I haven't looked back since. I've just carried on getting relationships with people that want to help us out make stuff, and you know, and we're fortunate enough to have a small group of us now that work together for a long period of time on it. But yeah, I can't get enough of VR personally. Although I'm very into the pinball at the moment, I can't get away from it, and they keep dropping new tables. So that is it. But you know, this week I've played Into Black. I played that this week at Suncrest. So I played that for a bit. Yeah, I tend to pick up a headset and play games and enjoy playing them myself. I'm still a big fan of PC VR. I've got like all the kit there. And just, you know, once a month I'll play Gran Turismo 7 with a bunch of content creators doing stuff, and I love that on the PlayStation VR 2. And you know, I've just literally bought No Man's Sky digital for the PlayStation VR 2 because it's like I've got a PlayStation Pro, and I want to, you know, go back out into that world for a bit on my save game. You know, so it's like I am genuinely a player. I'm not just somebody to make stuff. But so I would say I'm a huge fan of VR. But yeah, we do spend a lot of time making the game. It's like proportionally, there are like 50, 60 hours a week making it, and the rest of the time I will play a bit of games here and there. But I like the social games. You know, truthfully, I think there are a lot of decisions around, you know, probably sensible decisions around like making sure there's a single campaign and not just a multiplayer, and you know, making sure we're cross-platform, because you know, the market, you know, at least friends from one device to another can play together and things like that. They're harder to do than you'd imagine. It's not like you just, you know, in order to cross-platform, you have to have some server infrastructure in the middle, and then have to set it up and all the rest of it. So it's not like obvious decisions to make, but at this point, yeah, we're trying to do the right thing by that. And sorry, that's a long answer to your question, but yeah, it's
but great answer. A long but great answer. I love it. Like I said, long history in VR for sure. And I was laughing when you were talking the PSVR 2, because I think every week me and him are on the fence of grabbing PlayStation 5 Pros and PSVR 2s 100% just for No Man's Sky VR and Gran Turismo 7. And of course, those are the two titles you listed on.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man, this is it's just music to my ears with that. But
I would add two more to that for PlayStation in terms of things that I think that, apart from Borderlands 2, of course, that's on PlayStation. You should definitely pick that up. But no, I would add the Resident Evil series as full stop in PlayStation are just outstanding, and got to experience them. Even if you're not into horror, to like fight through the horror sections, but the actual normal parts that aren't that scary, it's worth it. And I would add, actually, Bobby at XR Games has one of my favorite PlayStation VR 2 games, which is the Headshot Fever, Zombieland Headshot Fever. That is exceptionally good on the PlayStation. It's way better than the Quest and the PC version. They did a special master with I don't know whether it was with Sony actually, but the PlayStation version of that has upgrades left, right, and center for specifically the PlayStation, and it's outstandingly good. They're my favorites, but yeah, I've got
I think a pair of them are on our horizon for sure.
It's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. Too many good games.
Yeah, it's nice to see the PlayStation VR Pro getting a bit of love. Yeah, I just wish, I mean, I don't know what Sony's strategy is, but I just wish they'd support OpenXR fully and allow any headset to be plugged into the PlayStation. That would be like my dream. It was like, that's the best thing that they could do to help the industry, just to provide an open XR platform that you just plug a headset into PlayStation and play games. And if not every headset, at least partner with a few external, or make a PlayStation VR 3 and stop, think long term and say, well, truthfully, I never thought they'd do a PlayStation VR 2. It probably wasn't a huge success in PlayStation VR 1. And I have had some behind the scenes conversations with some investors that were involved in Sony. And, I know a few people from Sony now. In fact, also Kish, who used to work for Sony, and Dr. Dave, who used to work for Sony. And, they're an interesting company, but mostly cost-centric. And I think that this is the one thing that it's not about. It's a bit like what I was saying earlier. It's not really about the money. It's about giving it opportunity to grow and mature into the money. And I think we're still somewhat there. I mean, there's definitely people making money, right? And that's great. But I don't want to, I'd hate to be coming to you and saying, we're making, Gorilla Tag 18. And it's like, we don't want to be doing that. We want to be, that is great for a certain audience. And it's probably where you chase the money. But, it's not, we still believe that good quality VR focused games that are social is a huge market and still untapped, frankly. I think it's a market that will continue to grow.
Yeah,
I had a bit of a utopia.
Developers like you is really what's carried the PlayStation VR 2.
It's not as simple as that. It's actually the consumer. I mean, please, yeah. I mean, it's a voting system, right? It's like no matter what happens, we need to fund this stuff. And if the consumers buy the PlayStation VR 2 and play Gran Turismo 7 in VR, that's really the numbers that end up getting seen by all involved. And ultimately, we're voting with our wallet every time, which is why I like to buy games and actually play them. I'm lucky enough to get some free keys sometimes. Perhaps I should stop that. But I do buy a lot of games, and I never feel bad about it, because ultimately it goes into the pocket of somebody that usually is really into VR and wants to make more games, right? Yeah, so it's a healthy symbiotic relationship, but ultimately, yeah. Sorry, I banged. I sound desperate here. I'm not actually desperate. I really hope it speaks for itself, which is why I said at the start, it's like, no, you've just got to be honest and talk about the game. I'm not got some type of, I know there's a lot of games that don't, have embargoes and don't let you say anything until the last minute, or don't even give you a bit. It's like, I don't feel like that. I feel like if we can't stand on ourselves and be proud of what we've done, then so really it's like, but it is a symbiotic relationship. It's like every time somebody buys the game, it helps us, put some money in the pocket towards the next one. And truthfully, it really does open up opportunity, right? If you do well, you'd be surprised how easy venture capitalist money is compared to not doing well, right? And if you get good word of mouth, it's going to be a lot more helpful to go into that meeting with Meta at an event and say, look at all these reviews that I had, than it is, with something that's dived off the edge of a cliff and disappeared into nothing. So yeah, no, it's tough. It is tough. And I wish there was a magical formula for it, but to quote somebody else here, there's no levers really to pull in VR. I can't just go and spend, £5,000 on adverts and make the world a difference. It would probably just be a waste of money, honestly, because we just don't quite. It really is word of mouth and people purchasing it that helps it get up the stores. I've been sat with Valve and had the privilege of speaking to their store team a number of times now, and there's no magic algorithm on Steam. Everybody seems to think there is. There isn't. It's as simple as how many wish lists puts your position in the up and coming, along with the date, obviously, and how many sales you make post-launch. There's nothing magic about it, right? You might choose to be featured. You might get, or you might. They do a certain amount of randomization when you dig into it, but that's just to stop bots scraping positioning and working out accurate counts. It really is how many wish lists before sales and how many sales afterwards. There's nothing else. There's nothing special, right? So fundamentally, we're being marked in almost every platform, but certainly Meta as well. Right now they look at the wish lists and they decide how they're going to feature games and which ones are going to be good, right? And then post release, it'll be how many have we sold. So it's as simple as and brutal as that.
Well, I don't think at any point seemed desperate or anything. It seemed very genuine the whole way through.
Very real.
Well,
And good shout there on the PlayStation VR 2 consumers, because definitely, they show up to support. You see them on socials and stuff like that. And
and I think that honestly was tough. It was tough because, on the other side, I do know that they're very noisy, but it's a small subsector. But I am committing to, as a studio, supporting as many platforms as possible that with community that loves VR. So I am, I'd love to bring Titan Isles to the Apple platform, and I'd love to bring it to the Google platform, and I'd love to bring it to every platform that uses any to Decode or whatever that will be called when it's released. From my point of view, I think that why they might not make a lot of sense, some of those platforms, it's more important that I support VR as a whole and that other devs have that same sort of mentality. I think it's really, it's about the future being bright, and to build the future, it really is a load of us. I've sort of said that, so it's like fine, but it is about us working together and, making sure these platforms have amazing content, and then, more and more people in many ways, I'm super happy for Gorilla Tag and the success of Animal Company and various other games like Yeeps and stuff, because it's perhaps not a market that we're aiming for or trying to sell to, because the type of games we make are a little bit more just VR. I don't know what to say about it. You can't get more VR than Animal Company probably right now, but they're a little bit more mature, maybe. I don't know. That's probably the wrong word as well, but they are they are aimed at people that play VR for a while and want something specific. But, I love the fact that there's a community of people. I've got young kids myself, and they love playing games, and I love watching them play these games because it's fundamentally building VR into their life. And, like we look back on retro gaming and I'm proud that that's happening. I just hope that it doesn't, we don't want to chase the lowest common denominator as an industry. It's a healthy makeup to have, Roblox and Fortnite, but, you wouldn't want there to be no premium games out there as well, right? So it's like, I'm hoping that we don't have all of us devs chase to the bottom line of the free games with upsells and everything, and that we can keep a healthy balance of premium and freemium and free to play, and that all works itself out into a beautiful ecosystem that just grows. That's really what I'm hoping.
Really couldn't have said that better myself too. The balance is essential. But John, this was an awesome interview. I thought that this
way too easy.
Yeah, I think we could go the Joe Rogan 3-hour style without issue with you. We'll wrap this up now. Maybe we, I always like to leave with more to talk about. That way we can have somebody back on as well too.
Especially once the dust settles with this one.
And I don't think you seem to be bothered by this as well too, but our listeners know this. It's a Sunday. We always steal people on the busiest. They're the day where you catch up on life, relax. We go, hey, talk to us for an hour and a half. So definitely appreciate you taking the time, John. And I think we definitely have to have you back on post launch. Even if
I
it's
love
not
it. If you knew me, I would do this without the podcast. It's like it doesn't need the podcast. I can just talk about VR. I love VR. It's genuinely a privilege to be working. And I've been a privilege to be on the show twice now. That's awesome. But, first time I saw you, I was pleased to be on the show because I do listen to you, actually. I listen to you in the car. I listen to every podcast I can in VR as well. But, I really do listen to you guys, and I appreciate that it's hard work doing what you do. Consistency is key, and you've been so consistent over the years. And, I applaud that you carry on doing what you're doing, keep going, and you do an awesome job. And thank you for rallying VR so well. It is a privilege to be here.
That's amazing to hear. That means more than we could say. So thank you so much, John, for taking the time. Like I said, definitely we'll have you back on, and I think we got to hop in Titan Isles as well together, because I got to learn a couple tricks from the creator himself.
I'm gonna try your character just for that. I'm not gonna use your character, but I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to play soon. So this was a fun
my favorite upgrade is Goliath's reflective shield. That's my favorite upgrade. I go straight for that because I just love reflecting enemy bullets.
Oh, there's so much depth here. I can't wait for the VR community to get their hands on it. Consumers, I can't wait to see the content creator videos. Like I said, I challenge somebody that's played VR for a year or 2 years and play this and be like, tell me this is not made by VR gamers.
No, dude,
with everything that's great about VR, like wrapped in a package. I think this is going to be a hit.
Funny.
I can't wait to see it out in the wild. So thank you again, John, for taking the time to join us. To the listeners,
No problem.
you know, I had said before pre-order, but you're right, John. Like wishlist is free.
The shit out of it.
It helps the visibility. Like go in there, wishlist Titan Isles if you're excited for it. I think this is a contender for like co-op game of the year. And
I'd already
we're not deep enough into it to say it for sure.
Did I note it? Yeah,
dude. 15 minutes in, we knew.
Yeah, we already discussed.
Yeah. So again, huge props. Thank you for taking the time for us on a Sunday. We'll definitely be gaming soon, and we'll have you back on. And I can't say enough. Congrats on this one.
Yeah.
You know, it's not out. It's not out yet, but like it's freaking good.
It's a couple weeks from being out.
Yeah, it's good. You guys did something special with this one. So
thank you. I really appreciate that. It's can get me emotional and slightly red here, but thank you.
Wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, and that's for sure. So thank you again to the listeners. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Check out the store pages for Titan Isles. See if it fancies you. Drop it a wish list, and John, like I said, we'll have you back on post launch and see how things are going from there.
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you so much.